All right, looks like we're live. This is an impromptu training, so you're going to have to forgive my attire. I've got my favorite shirt on. So anyway, we've had a request for um, an emergency QA training, right? So we're going to do this as a QA basics. And in the process of getting this QA basics, we're going to run through the PPQA of the DRS project, which is due today. And we're going to use that to tie in some standard QA techniques that are available in other aspects. So let me see if I can set that. All right. And I've got Larry on the line. And Larry, feel free to pipe up any questions you have or anything. We've also invited John and a couple of others, and hopefully they'll pop in. And if they do, then they've got the, if they don't pop in, then they at least have the share to be able to submit comments and questions through the YouTube interface.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen out, and we're going to go first to the PPQA, and then we'll go through, while I'm doing that, how to QA anything, pretty much product, process, project. It doesn't really matter. The steps are all essentially the same. Okay, so you can see my space, right?
Yes.
All right, so we've got Confluence up. We're going to go to the DRS space. Now, the first thing to keep in mind is QA needs to be done on a cycle, PPQA especially. So if we look at the cycle for my PPQA of the DRS project, it's handled in a very simple QA of QA right here on my calendar. It's a never-ending event. It's every week on Tuesday. It kicks off at 1 o'clock and it reminds me to do it. So that's pretty much the whole point behind this entry, is just to remind me to do this. That puts it on a schedule. So now in the content of the project, so in the PMP or whatever, we can have it right there that it's every week on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, the PPQA of the project is completed. So I get this right here. If you see my email, I get this notice right here that is QA of QA is required. A lot of junk in my email right now. And it says today at 1 o'clock to 1:30. Close that again. And it's literally just that notification from the calendar. So it physically reminds me, and then when I'm finished, I click check just to get it off my box. So we're going to go ahead and check that I've done it. We're doing it right this second. And let's get over to it. So what I do is I come into the project space itself, and we go down to PMP, quality control process. Quality control process? Yes. Okay, and here's the exact process for the quality control, the PPQA checklist, and the components for a space. So this is a process quality analysis is what we're doing. All right, right here over it says this check should be run through every few weeks. When the project is hot like this, we do it once a week. For a project that has not yet started or that has been delivered. If your project is underway, it should be done weekly. Currently, it's done every Tuesday at noon by me. Obviously, my calendar has it at 1 o'clock, so we could change that if we wanted to, but I don't think it matters. All right, so here's my checklist, okay? And my checklist makes it very simple. You basically start at the top of the list and you click on this and you answer the question that's provided right here. So in this case, the change requests of the project space must contain all of the change requests by description and priority, their approvals, and all the steps that were taken for them. So we click to open that guy up, and here it is. Okay. Now I'm going to have the same comment that I had last time, which is where are the dates? I don't know that there are any new ones that were put out, and there doesn't seem to be anything more recent than the September 13th, or yeah, the September 13th one. So whatever the date this one was. So we come back over here, edit the page. I come into the top of my, I'm going to add a line here. Who did this? You following okay so far, Larry?
Yes.
All right. So this is the checklist review. It's today. And my first finding is right here. Okay, and I'm going to change that date because that is a due date. I'm going to make that Friday. All right. So on this one, then I'm going to take the checkbox off because it is now up here so that he doesn't end up with two to-dos in it, in his to-do list. All right. So that's the first one off the list. So now we go up to the top again. Testing records. Validate that each area below and report your findings in the PPQA table to the left. Oops. Yeah, that's fine. Opened it in a new window. Okay, so here's the testing. Okay, takes you right to the testing. And we need to look and test area. So it's full test records. All right, so there have been no new test cases written. The automated testing, I don't believe there's been any new automated testing run since I last published, which would have been demo, which is right here. So demo, 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 demo. About publishing my test results. So I do see an here though that I'm going to fix because I am hyper anal like that. All right. Okay, so that one is done. So since that one is done, there's no point that needs to be made here. Now I used to go through and I would say that this is current or that is current or whatever. I don't do that anymore. I stopped doing that earlier. It just gets to be, you know, once these pages get to be so long, it just, nobody's going to read through all that junk anyway. All they need to read through is what's missing.
Yeah, non-compliances are a big issue, so.
Right. So I'm just going to start marking non-compliances from now on.
Okay.
All right. So communications, validate that each area described below, reporting your findings. So the validation really isn't at the communications page. We can go to the link and you'll see what I'm talking about. The communications page itself, all it does is tell you when the meetings are. Okay. So that's handy to know because you have to know what meetings to look for. So there's a daily online scrum. And to watch or to view that, we open Slack. Normally I have this open because it's part of the DRS project communications window or schema. So this is your Slack. And if you look at Slack, just like Hangouts, only instead of it being by individual, so this is an individual Hangout, right? With you, here's an individual Hangout with John. You've got all kinds of people over here.
Right.
So instead of an individual Hangout, this is a project-based Hangout.
Okay.
And each of these is a private channel that you have. So if you think about this as the project, everyone you possibly know, right? And then each one of these is the private channel.
Right.
And that's basically the same configuration.
Okay.
So one difference is that the channels are titled now in Slack. So you have a stand-up channel or a development notes channel or a general notes channel. So in the development notes channel, that's where people would just go, normally in an old school situation, you'd have 10 people in a room and they're all doing their development. And you just turn around and go, hey guys, hands off, I need 5 minutes to publish.
Right.
That's what this is.
Okay.
So like right here, I can stamp to the whole channel, or I can stamp to an individual. So I can say only John Coffey. Okay. But if I stamp it to the whole channel, then I can turn around and say, hey everybody, the done definition workflow changes are completed. This workflow only affects the following task types or issue types. So, and then everybody who's included in that channel, which is supposed to be everybody, will get a notification that that's been stated. Some of the channels like test don't have everybody. Scrum doesn't have everybody. I'm sorry, release doesn't have everybody. Meeting back chat doesn't have everybody. But Scrum has everybody. So if you're a member of the project, you're included in the Scrum automatically. So the Scrum is an automated system run by Geekbot right here, down on the bottom. And you'll see every day Geekbot contacts you and says, hi, it's time for your stand-up. When you're ready, answer the following questions. What did you accomplish yesterday? And then you tell it, yesterday I did this. And then it says, okay, what are you going to do today? And then you say, today I did this, or I plan to do this. And then he says, what obstacles are in your path? And you say what they are. Did you log your work in Jira? Yes. And he says, thank you. And then if you come up to the Scrum, he takes that information and punts it to the entire team. Scrolling to find a one that was from today. Why are these so old? That's weird. Yeah, I don't understand why the date is wrong. Maybe the date on the server is wrong. Huh. I don't understand. Anyway, but so you'll see it's like this. It comes in with your statements come in here, and then the ticket name automatically, this next up bot automatically includes the ticket name and any content related to it, what its status is, and it's a one-click and it launches you over into Jira. So the Scrum, although I'm not sure where it's at, see what that does. Oh, getting a phone call. Who is it? Oh, I need to take this, Larry. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
David speaking. Yes, hi Mark, how are you doing? Okay. Yeah, but that's better than a new motor. Outstanding. All right, thank you so much. Oh, what time do you close? Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Bye. All right. It's done. They close at 6. So if you want to go now, otherwise we can just pick it up tomorrow. I didn't ask. I'm kind of in the middle of something. All right. Well, let's get back to it.
That's fine.
Yeah. All right. So, oh, so that's what it is. I was looking at the wrong channel. So actually I need to delete that channel because that is not a channel I'm going to use. Let's see, channel settings, leave. Okay, so here we go. So here you can see my entry from this morning. So what did you accomplish yesterday? What are you going to do today? Did you log your work? So the next element that we're looking for is the Scrum meetings, right? Where did that go? Communications, daily Scrum. So we look at Slack and we see that, yes, there's another one right there. People are definitely putting in their Scrum notes every morning at around 10 o'clock. So here they go all the way back to 7 a.m. On February 7th, there's probably still more. Yep. So there's February 6th. So here it is right here. Okay. So we can see that, yes, they're having their daily Scrum meeting. All right. So that one we get to check off. All right. Monthly status reports. The next section under communications. Okay. So January status report is 17. So what I do then is I go to and Mary. I'm going to add Mary. So the key here is you are you're hitting all stakeholders, okay? And you say, Mary and Lewis, when was the last monthly status report for DRS? Okay, this report's supposed to be monthly. Clearly, they've had one for every month so far. So they're missing February. It's the 7th, so I'm not going to hold that against them. Page history, when was the last time the page was updated? February 6th. So I would assume that they have or are about to put up a status report, since it was last edited February 6th. Now this January one, it said went up on January 17th, so it might not be ready yet.
Right.
So I'll give them that one, and normally I would then call that satisfied.
Okay.
If it's March and I don't see a February entry, I'm going to say, where's the February entry?
Right.
All right, so Lewis just came back and said he submitted all the content and they're waiting, so it's not ready to go yet. So that's good.
Okay.
All right, so oops, stay on page, stay on target. Get rid of these. Okay, so the next one is project briefings. Okay, January 14th. So here's 17th. I hate it when we don't get standardized on names because it screws up all of the, like the 16s and there's a 17 and there's a 15.
Right.
And since these were all uploaded around the same time, it screws up the layout. So anyway, so I'm going to say that there's a January 11th one there. I'm going to say that that's a good one. So we're going to call that page also done. She is so funny. She's asking me to print something, but I am not opening it. on a video call with the record on. I know her better than that. All right, so project briefings. We're going to call that one good. Meeting minutes. Going to go to the link. Okay, so again, January, look, we're looking at late January's now, January 19th, January 23rd, right? So, why are all these? Oh, those aren't file updates. That's a task list. That must be the task list rolled up from the meeting minutes. So I'm going to go and open each of these guys. Oh, here's a February 17, February 7th of 17. So that one's accurate. Yeah, that must just be the task list from these. February 3rd, that's good. Developer meeting. Developer meeting, January 30th, we'll call that good. You know, I give it 2 weeks.
Right.
If it's within 2 weeks, oh, archived. Okay, so I meant to do this last week. So that stands out a little better. So, you know, as long as it's within a couple of weeks, I call it good in this case.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to go over here and we're going to call those meetings right there are all done. Okay, and we did the daily scrum, so that's done. So now we're going to go to the release data. Now I know we haven't had a release yet. 17 was the last release. So we are currently functioning on 17.
Right.
And here's all the release data. Okay.
It's fairly current. Looks fairly current.
Yeah, and this is a plugin, so it can't not be current.
Okay.
See, it plugs in right from Jira, so there's nothing we can do about that.
Okay.
All right, so then I'm going to call the PPQA finished at this point. So that's my PPQA notes.
Okay.
All right, so I didn't add anything else to this list. The monthly status reports, he did update those, that one. I need to go look at this still, so I'm going to copy this up to here. And I'm going to turn this one into a bullet. Make sure that they got everything else. Missing retrospective meeting notes for several of the latest releases. So now we go release. Pre-release checklist. Still not seeing, there's the pre-launch. Pre-launch. Now maybe they've done away with the retrospectives, but it is in our PMP. Yeah, still not seeing retrospectives. All the way back to release 10. So that one rides. Okay, so we're going to take that one and move that up. Turn that into a bullet. Okay. I'm going to leave the dates the way they were. I'm actually going to put this date back to the 3rd, which is where that one, the other one was. All right. So there's that one we just moved up. So there's that. Okay. So I'm calling the PPQA done. Okay. Now, another thing I noticed, you didn't QA my results from last week. and you still need to QA my results from this week.
Right.
Okay, so you'll need to go do both of those. Now you can do both of those right now because we literally just went through all of it all over again. You can put the
Yeah,
same
I'll
date.
go out and put the, I'll update it after you do.
Yeah. All right, so that's that. Now, let's look at QA as a process, okay? And I'm going to leave this page up, and I'm going to open another page. I have to go the long way because I can't remember where it's at. The DRS automated testing. Boom. Okay. So now let's look at QA another way. Okay? QA of a product. What we just did was QA of a process.
Right.
And this list, this PPQA checklist, this is your user stories. Okay? Each one of these is a requirement and the user story backing it.
Okay.
So if we look at a realistic requirement in a testing scenario, layout regression test is your requirement, and your user stories are written as an actual user story. Okay, a test case and a user story are essentially the same thing.
Right.
So your test steps are indicated here. If we look at the quality control piece, your test steps are indicated by what it says: validate each row or each area. The project space must contain copies of all the reports that have to be delivered. To validate this, verify that all the copies have been uploaded for all recent deliveries. So the same steps: log into the DRS homepage, verify that the name is displayed properly, verify that there's a sections area, verify, 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 looking at different elements each time.
Mm-hmm.
So the QA process that we're using for PPQA is the same QA process that we use for product. Just the tools that you use to do it are different. So in verifying the PPQA stuff, we're QAing a process. So there isn't really an automation for that. There's no tool I can use that says, go check this and see if it's active or not. You know, it's not like I can't test it the same way that you can test a product because it's more subjective. For example, I can't automate a test that says, is it current? Because current for the Slack stand-up, what would you consider current for the Slack stand-up?
The topmost entry, I guess.
Well, no. So the stand-up meeting has to be done how often?
That's every day, isn't it?
Right. So what is a current entry for the Slack stand-up?
Today's date.
Exactly. But that's my dad calling. I'll have to call him back. But so for Slack, current is today.
Okay.
Okay. What about a monthly meeting with the client? What is current?
Well, at this point, you could consider last month current, depending upon what day of the month they hold it.
Exactly. You can arbitrarily say 30 days.
Right.
You can arbitrarily say a couple of weeks.
Right.
So it's very subjective. So the process for doing a process is different than the process used to do a product. But the steps are the same. So the steps go like this. You determine the requirement. Okay?
Right.
And so determining the requirement in this case is the requirement is that you have to be able to log in, and you have to see the name of the logged in user, and you have to verify that the sections in the area look like this.
Right.
Okay, so these are your requirements. So you
Okay.
have step and the physical requirement. Over here, you have the step and the physical requirement, must contain.
Okay.
Okay. What's another one? Must contain copies. Must contain copies. Must contain meeting minutes. The daily scrum must be daily.
Right.
So those are your requirements.
Okay.
All right, the next step is any white box data. So white box data in a testing environment says, if the requirement says the name must display, I have to have 3 names to test. The first name should not exist, which means he's not in the database. The second name should exist, which means it's in the database. And I guess that's it. I really only need 2. So that's white box data.
Okay.
White box data in this scenario is when I came over here and said, can't right now, sorry. Okay, no problem. Is when I came over here and said, hey, Lewis, when was the last staff meeting? If he tells me it was on February 5th, and I go look at that page, there had better be a meeting entry for February 5th.
Right.
But if he says February's meeting isn't until the 15th, then it changes the subjective current. So without knowing that the next meeting is on the 15th, my subjective definition of current can be 30, 40 days, whatever I decide.
Okay.
But if my white box data tells me that the meeting was on the 5th, my subjective current had better be post February 5th. If my white box data tells me that the next meeting is not until the 15th, then my subjective current goes back to the 15th. Because that's 1 month.
Okay.
So there's that process difference again. All right, so the next part about automation is the steps to take, the actual 1, 2, 3, 4, exactly what you're going to do. That's handled in an automated scenario by the scripts themselves.
Okay.
And the scripts themselves literally run this list right here. So this is a script, and so there's different kinds of scripts in QA. You've got basically the actors script, which quite literally you can hand to a human being and tell them to go do this on stage, right? The stage being your Confluence instance, or the stage being your application's website, whatever. But you hand them this, and it is literally an actor's script. And more often than not, your test cases even have specific users. So you'll have, as an administrator, I want to be able to do this or do that.
Right.
Okay. As a customer, I want to be able to buy. Or as a content editor, I need to be able to update. So those are the different kinds of test cases, or the different kinds of actors that you can have. Well, in this scenario, in the process scenario, you have several actors as well, but they're not quite as pertinent to the content. The key behind the actors is knowing who to go to get that fixed. So when you come down here, this is where the actor comes into play.
Okay.
So the actor that is responsible for the change request is the PM. The actor that is responsible for the anything on the PMP is Mary Kendrick. She's the assistant project manager or the BA or something like that.
Right.
Retrospective meeting notes could have gone to either one of them. I just put it up to Larry, to Lewis, because it was handy. Okay, so that's your actors. The next part of the script is the results set. So when you're doing a QA of a product, your results come up literally in a binary format. They're either pass or fail.
Okay.
So if we look at this result set right here, we have an error. The date filter was not set to the last 30 days. It failed. Okay. Date filter set to the last 7 days, failed. It's supposed to look like this, but it didn't for some reason. And I know the reason. Their math is wrong. This, instead of saying 13, it says 14. So it's actually the last 29 days and the last 6 days, because they forgot to add a 1 when they did their shift. So anyway, the same thing with today and yesterday. So their math is wrong, but you have errors and you have warnings, and then you can have passes, successes. Now I don't record the successes in the validation scripts either, because they don't need to know what passed. They need to know what broke.
Right.
So we have things like errors, and there's 2 different colors here for the errors. So you can see the 35 error is grouped and 1 color, and then the 47 error is a different color, and then goes back to the first color for 35. That's just to help readability.
Okay.
And then you've got warnings. Now this warning may or may not be an error. Okay, the warning is that the document type filter is not defined. But there are cases in the piece of software where the document type filter is not defined, and that is true. So because this automated system is not able to subjectively determine, the warning is posted and you have to go manually subjectively determine.
Okay.
Where over here, we're intelligent enough to subjectively determine what a recent meeting minute is, for example. All right, so that's the QA process in a nutshell. Okay.
Okay.
If we look at my space again, I think I have a QA steps. Yeah. QA checklist. Okay, and then here's my PPQA checklist that I've been using. I keep it here just so I have it reusable. So the QA steps are this. You gather the requirements, which is the user stories. You gather the business rules, and you validate the business rules against the user stories to make sure that the user stories are accurate.
Okay.
You validate that the content is accurate, not only of the user stories and the business rules, but now also of the product. You validate that the spelling of that content is accurate. You see how we're building on each one?
Right, right.
Then you section 508 of the content. Then you security of the system and load of the system. So let's see, how long have we been going? Doesn't say.
Doesn't say. Probably, we've been going about 40 minutes or so.
All right, let's have a little fun. And we're going to walk through DRS and validate. There it is. We're going to walk through DRS and validate the product against one of our tests. So you can see how similar the steps are, okay?
Okay.
To doing a PPQA of a process and the QA of a product. All right, testing, automated testing. Let's do the layout regression because we've been playing with that one. And it doesn't require any white box data. All right, so layout regression test. Here's the steps. So the first thing we do is display the home page. Okay?
Okay.
And we go to the window here, users, login. One S in user. All right, here's our product. I have to open it back up again because it doesn't lay out very well when it's plugged up like that. All right, that's better. Verify that the name of the logged in user displays. Okay, the name of the logged in user should be displayed at the top right. Need to talk about the various options, blah, 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 blah. All right, so that's the requirement right there. And does that pass or fail?
Hold on, I'm on my phone screen, so.
Oh, what are you doing on your phone? You should be on your computer where you can see this stuff.
Well, actually, I forgot that I needed to answer on the computer. Hold on a second. Let me move over. Let me get over there. Ah. That way.
Yeah, actually, if you go to, if you just go to Hangouts, you should be able to join the current Hangout.
Okay, hang on. Okay. So I just need to do the.
Yeah, just open hangouts.google.com and you'll see the one there that's active with you and me. And then
I've got that up. It says David Hopkins on it. And
yeah, so then just click on the video button.
guess what I just did?
Oh, well then that's not the same one. Yeah, that's not the same one.
Okay. Okay. NDi Presents. Hold on.
Yep, that's the one.
Accept. All right, let me get to the. Getting there. Hang on a second.
It's all good, man. There you go. I see it coming up.
All right. I'm gonna cut this off my phone.
Yeah, hang up the phone. Hang up the phone.
Try it.
There, I ejected you.
There we go. Thanks. Hang up.
Oh my goodness, you're killing me.
Sometimes this phone just doesn't want to do what I tell it.
I'm telling you. All right, so let me reshare. We'll go ahead and get on to the next piece here. Okay, so looking at the screen. Okay.
Okay.
And here's the requirement, right?
Top right
name
side.
of the
Yeah.
login user should be displayed at the top right. So is the name
Yes,
of the
okay.
login user displayed properly?
No.
It's not?
All I see is logged in user, but it doesn't show.
Okay, let me show you this. Okay, if I go back, Oh, it's going to log me straight back in again. I'm going to have to close it. But anyway, the login name is user. So that is it.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah. So when I typed it in, I thought you saw me type it in, but it's the username is user. So does this pass or fail?
Yeah, it passes.
All right. So let's look at the next one. Verify the sections in the main content area. Okay. The two primary sections are latest news
Got
and
it.
recent documents. So do you see latest news in the main content area?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then, so if we scroll down, do you see recent documents?
Yes.
Okay. And now we look at the next piece, the tabs. Advisory circulars should be default.
Yes.
Is it a pass or fail?
That's the default view. It looks like it's what it came up to.
Yep. So that'd be a pass. Do you also see airworthiness directives, rules, and legal interpretations?
Yes.
Okay.
So that passes.
Yep. All right. So next, verify the columns for each of those is effective, published, title, and document number.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So that's for advisory circulars. So now we go to airworthiness directives. Is it the same?
Yes.
Rules.
Yep.
Legal interpretations.
Yeah, that's correct.
Awesome. All right. So now we go to the next one. Verify the sections on the left nav. Let's see. So we have the left nav. Okay. Home should have news under it. Results by. Regulations, document, and list. Is that right?
Right.
Is it?
Oh, wait a minute. Regulations. No cards.
Exactly. So I happen to know cards got removed in one of the latest releases.
Okay.
However, they didn't fix the requirements page yet. So that needs to be repaired because currently the test fails because the requirements are the goal.
Okay.
All right. So filter by.
All right. Date range and document type. Okay.
Yep. Help.
Stats, tips, tutorial, and tours. Yes.
Okay. Keep going.
Miscellaneous. Release notes. Welcome. Known issues. Credits, licenses, and FAQ. Yes.
Awesome.
And version. Yes.
All right. There we go. Just for fun, I'm going to show you the date range right here. So if you choose today, it should be today's date, right? But for some reason, it doesn't stick. It sets it right. So you can look like today and up here in the thing, it sets it right.
Right.
And it shows up here correctly, but then when the page reloads, it falls away. And the last 7 days, which if today is the 7th, what is 7 minus 7?
Should be, well, it'd be 31st.
Exactly. And so it's doing 7 minus 6 is what it's doing. So same problem. It doesn't stick anymore. So those are errors, but that's not this test.
Right.
So for this test, so far, we're passing with the exception of cards.
Right.
Now, I would normally go through, and we can actually do this. Let's create DRS board, a task. We're going to put it in as a technical question. Cards page is still in Rex. Up. I know this goes to Raghu because he is our BA. Please update the requirement to show the change in the cards page. Include any references to tasks, to issues that support this removal. Any references to issues, meeting minutes, etc. that support this removal. All right, and then we're going to say it's on one of these pages. I know it is. It's not that one. It's that one. Okay. No, it's not that one. It's that one. Okay, so then we take this page here and we paste it in there. Okay, and then we say save that. Okay, so now I just recorded the error we found.
Okay.
Okay, now I know it's not a bug because it's it was discussed and I've already updated all the automated tests removing it. So I know it's not a bug. He just forgot to change the requirements documents. So I put it in as a technical task, as a tech question instead, when normally it would go in as a bug.
Right.
So, all right, so there's that. We're done with this page. Okay, so next section. All right, verify that the tooltips for each of the applicable links on the left navigation bar are read as they're supposed to. So the requirement is news should have a tooltip that says news and documents. So we mouse over recent news and documents. Now, what all do we have to check here?
Well, you click news.
No.
Nope.
Read the test step.
Tooltips for each of the.
Okay. So that's the test step. Let me also show you this other page again here. All right, this one. And this one. Okay, so first things first, what's the requirement?
Verify the tooltips for each of the applicable links on the left nav bar.
Right. So if this is the left nav bar, and each one of these are applicable, then each one of them that's supposed to have a tooltip had better have a tooltip. That's the test. I don't care if the link goes anywhere. I don't care if it opens anything. I don't care what it does. If it doesn't do what it's supposed to, right, like the date range, I don't care. I just want to.
But if you go over it,
it says it's supposed to.
Okay.
All right. So now there's the test content on the right and the test requirements on the left.
Right.
But based on our QA checklist, this guy right here, where are we in this list?
Well, you're in the content accuracy, isn't it?
Yes. So content accuracy, first component of that says, does it say what it's supposed to say? So is that a pass or a fail?
Recent news and documents. That's right. Pass.
Okay. What's the next step?
Spelling.
Is it spelled properly? And more importantly than being spelled properly is it spelled exactly the way the requirements indicate it is to be spelled?
Recent news and documents. Looks like it.
Awesome. Okay, because, and I say it like that because what happens with this? Remember this company? Big box furniture store, kind of like
yeah,
that big box furniture store.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So if they said the requirements said validate the header of your page has the name store in it, but the header of the page was spelled like that, would it pass or fail?
That'd fail. Oh no, it would pass because it would pass because the STOR is there.
Well, no, it would fail because in the requirements, this is the correct spelling.
Okay, so okay, we're not talking about the necessarily contains, but it has to read exactly.
Exactly. So
Okay.
this right here has to be exactly
Okay.
Now they could have said, if they said this, okay, if they said, okay, if that's what they said in the requirements, and this is what you were given, is that a pass or a fail?
That's a fail because you have the word and versus the symbol for it.
Exactly.
That's going to matter on metadata search, isn't it?
Yep. What about this one?
No, that's not going to work.
It's also a fail. So what they have in the requirements is a huge key. All right, so let's do the next one. Regulations, results organized around regulations. So we mouse over results organized around regulations. Looks like a pass to me.
Looks like it to me too.
Okay, then document, single document result.
Yep.
Cards is missing. And then list of result documents.
No.
Ranked by relevance.
No, it's supposed to say list of documents.
That's right. So there's another bug. So to create that bug, we go, boom, take a screenshot of that guy. Okay, and now I come over here, create a new ticket, DRS, bug, and what did it call it? Tooltip. Incorrect tooltip for list.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's pretty simple. Incorrect tooltip for the list link in the left nav.
Right.
So I'm going to read that automatic because I don't care who it goes to. It's just going to get put into the developer's workspace.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to include the let's see, story doesn't have story length. Let's add story. Oh, it looks like I don't have story in here. Okay, so story. And so now another thing that I do, and this is just me, so I format all my bugs exactly the same. So I come to QA, I grab the QA list, I go to the create, and I paste it right there. Okay. QA notes, test URL, business URL, business rule, which is that one. Explain the issue, which is this line. Okay. All right, and which version am I running in browser? I am doing Firefox and Chrome, not mobile. And I only tested in Chrome. Okay. And oh, okay. Okay, so there's, why did the description not come in properly? Oh, because that's not the case I just created. Let's go to the one I just created. All right, cars incorrect tooltip.
Okay.
All right, so there it is. So you see QA notes, test URL, environments, the issue, and the business rule.
Mm-hmm.
All nice and clean, easy to figure out. Now I'm going to come in here, I'm going to attach the screenshot. And then I'm going to come back to here and paste the screenshot right here. There we go. Attach screenshot with thumbnail. Twink. There it is. One beautifully perfect bug report.
Cool.
All right. So now we're going to the next one. So that is all of this one. Now this one. Okay. Date range. We know the date ranges are not working. Not anything in this list is working because none of these hold their status. They all turn properly,
Right.
but then they fail. It all goes back to the original 1968 first date. So none of those are working.
Okay.
And I know I've got an open ticket for that still, so I'm not going to create a new one.
Okay.
Okay, so verify options under the document type. So now we go to document type. Okay. Now what we don't have is a white box list for what this is supposed to be.
Right.
So even in the automated tests, this is not written yet because this is still pending.
Okay.
All right, so verify the sections on the right. So sections on the right are queries,
Yep.
saved searches, history,
Wait a minute.
concepts, and contact.
Well, you also have favorites in the middle of that.
Yep. So do we have a pass or do we have a fail?
Oh, failed.
Absolutely. So I happen to know that that was addressed in a different statement. So we're going to come over here. We're going to create another ticket. This one is a technical one again. Please include favorites into requirements page. Okay, assignee goes to Ragu. And then boom. So we can go look at that. There it is. Oh, why didn't that go in? That's interesting. Okay. And I think we have story here. Yeah. Story link. Is that in there? That just puts it up here in the content of the ticket, which is where it's supposed to be.
Right.
All right, so there's that one. Now on to the next one. Okay, verify that the search bar is enabled for input. So can we verify already that the search bar is enabled for input?
Yes.
Good. We need to verify that the default is correct. So enter terms, comma, concepts, comma, or phrases, dot, dot, dot.
Yes.
Is it?
Looks right.
Better look again.
Enter terms, concepts. I'm missing a comma after concepts.
Yep. So I've already created that ticket as well. So I'm not going to recreate it, but we got to look for every single thing. Now, one of the things that I do that's very handy is I don't look at the sentence. I look at the letters, break them down individually. Is there a capital E followed by a lowercase n, followed by a lowercase t, and so on, followed by a comma, followed by a space, followed by an O, followed by an R, okay?
Right.
Because you've seen those things where you know, isn't it amazing how well the brain works? And they show you this page that's got all these words that are scrambled.
Yeah.
But you can read it because your brain can decipher that stuff because subconsciously it picks up the errors, but consciously it doesn't show them to you.
Right.
So you have to get to the point where you've trained yourself to look at it like a graphic instead of like text. So when you get those, I love doing those. Here are two pictures side by side. What's the difference?
Yeah, the old Highlights magazine had those.
I love those things because they train your mind not to look at the obvious and not to understand what you're looking at. They train your mind to look at the fact of the element rather than the aesthetic of the element.
Right.
Right? Because you could look at two different pictures, both of the same lake, and go, yeah, that's the same lake, it's the same picture. When really, the pictures were taken 3 minutes apart from the same exact spot on a tripod. The tripod didn't move. They just took a picture, waited 3 minutes, and took another picture. And in the second picture, there's a bird in the tree 3 feet from the camera that you didn't see.
Right.
Because your brain just saw the same exact picture. So yeah, so you really got to be careful about that kind of stuff. All right, so what's the next one? You click inside the search bar. The drop down should appear with the words, please enter 2 or more characters. And there's no punctuation in that, and the 2 is a number. So we click in there, please enter 2 or more characters. No punctuation, and the 2 is a number.
Okay.
So that's a pass.
Yay.
Yeah, yay. Verify that the correct icons exist in the user tools area. So it should be condensed mode. Okay, and there's their tooltip. So condensed mode, clear search, document graph,
right,
upload a document, and then save search.
Right.
And save search is supposed to be disabled by default, but it's not disabled because we typed in the box.
Okay.
So if we reset back to default, so
I see that.
Condensed mode is, condensed mode is disabled by default.
Right.
Yes.
And save search is too.
And save search is disabled by default. Yes. So that's the whole test. That's an entire QA. That's one single test. Now, in doing that, we took care of all of these pieces all the way up to spelling.
Right.
All of them. 508 is done differently, and that's a different class.
Okay.
And security testing and load testing are done independently as well, and those are also substantially different classes.
Okay.
So here's your last piece. This is your test. We're going to take one of the test cases. This is a good one. Okay. And we're going to run through it, and you're going to do it. All right, so with that, get that as big as I can, get this as big as I can, and then we'll be done. We'll call it a win. Okay, so your DRS homepage is currently displayed. We are at the default status because we can tell because these are both disabled.
Right.
So we are logged in. And
under user. Okay.
Yep, under user, and everything is exactly as if you just came in.
Right.
So what's the first thing to do?
Well, we've already logged in, so that's good. DRS homepage is displayed. Okay, so we'd go to the right nav bar now, right? Under contact. Under contact, submit feedback link.
Okay, so under contact, here's contact.
Mm-hmm.
So below contact, we find the submit feedback link. Is it spelled properly?
Submit feedback. Looks to be.
Awesome. So we click it, we open it. Okay, so click on that. There it is.
Okay, we should have a pop-up form. Okay,
Yep.
we have a pop-up form. All right, the field should say your name. Now, question that I have, the colon's okay?
Yeah, that's standard form format. You'd have the title,
Okay.
colon, and then the box.
All right.
Yeah, so
Mandatory
that is
text field, I can see that. All right. The next one down is exact query entered.
So what does the next piece to that say, though?
For your name, it's a mandatory text field.
Okay, and is it?
And I see that that's listed that way because of the red star next to it.
Exactly. Now, I would already be making a ticket because the star isn't defined on the feedback form.
Okay.
So what does a star usually mean to you? When you see a star in a book or in the Bible, what does it tell you to do?
In a book or a Bible, it's usually to go see a note.
Exactly. It's the same thing here. A red star tells you to go see a note, but then they didn't provide the note.
Okay.
Now we know, because we're 20th century humans, that the red star next to a form field, typically the note means, please, or this is a required field.
Yes.
So, so it's an understood element, but it's still bad form not to include the note. So that would be my first ticket.
So that form fails just for that reason.
That's not a failure. So that would be a request for information.
Okay.
Because that is a 508 compliancy issue and a user experience issue. It's not a functionality issue. And nowhere on the requirements page does it say there must be a footnote indicating what the red star means.
Right, okay.
They go so far as to not even tell you how to express a mandatory text field. So it's, again, it's a very subjective element.
Okay.
Now, just for your information, programmatically, if I'm going to automate the test for this page, and I did, the way you automate the test for a required field is by looking at submit. If you don't have anything in there, submit should not be available. As soon as you type something in, it should become available.
Right.
But there's another one and another one. And so once all three of the required fields are filled in, then submit is available. That tells me that functionally the required fields are working.
Okay.
But aesthetically and industry standard wise, it's inappropriate not to have the footnote.
Okay.
All right, so let's do the next one.
All right, exact query entered, mandatory text field. Yes, without the note, but yes.
Yep.
Accuracy of results. All right, there should be a mandatory drop down, so we should have a drop down. I see that. Okay, very accurate, 80 to 100%. Accurate, 60 to 80%. Average, 40 to 60%. Unrelated, 20 to 40%, and no results. Okay.
My dad is stubborn tonight.
That looks right.
Okay, so what do you notice that's wrong? Anything?
I'm not seeing it.
Okay. What's all this extra crap out here?
Oh, okay.
if it's supposed to
Needs to be
say
defined in the requirements. Duh.
exactly. So the next part is if you look at very accurate space paren 80 dash, right?
Yeah.
This
So there
says
should be
very
parentheses
accurate space hyphen space 80
there. Okay.
dash.
So
So there's a hyphen here instead of a paren. There's an extra space in there. So this is not the same.
okay.
And then on top of that, there's this extraneous
Oh, yeah.
word yappity going on.
Okay.
So again, look at them absolutely character by character.
It's got to be absolutely, absolutely exactly the same.
Yes.
All right. I
Identical.
got you now. I'm tracking.
Yep. It's kind of a pain in the butt, isn't it?
I'm glad you do what you do.
Right. All right, so let's do the next one.
All right. Expected document not included in results. An optional text field. Okay, I don't see the mandatory dot, even though, okay.
Right.
An optional text field with a control to add more lines. Okay, I see the plus sign. All right. Got it. That looks right.
Yeah, that's a pass.
Graph functionality. An optional text field, okay. That looks right.
Yep.
Time saved, an optional text field. That looks right. And comments is a text box, and that looks right.
Yep. Okay, so what are your notes about this component of the test? What's the next thing you're going to enter a ticket for?
This would be a bug because, no, this is a technical, isn't it?
Which one?
On the mandatory fields, right?
So yeah, so aside from, we've got a couple of fields a couple of bugs that we're going to enter. The first one is going to be missing footnote.
Right.
That is definitely a bug because.
Right, and then we would have the bug on all the, down here at the expected documents or the accuracy thing.
Right.
Where it's not right with the parentheses, it's got the hyphen and it's got all the wording to the right.
Yep. Okay, what's the next one?
What did I miss? Expected.
This might help. Developers are arrogant and they think they know everything.
Yeah, I used to.
Huh?
Yeah, I used to.
Oh, yeah. And if you give them an inch, they will take it and run and create a planet. Okay?
Okay.
So what was not told in the requirements that was provided in the form?
Well, actually, all the, unless I'm wrong, are all the boxes supposed to be empty, or because there's not anything stating what's supposed to be inside the boxes?
That's right. That's called default text. And according to the story, according to what we are being provided as the gospel, right? This is our requirements list.
Right.
According to our requirements list, there shouldn't be anything in those boxes because we were not told there should be anything in those boxes.
Okay.
So that would be the next thing I raise and say, why is all this stuff in the boxes?
Right.
So you either need to update the test and the stories to reflect all of that data, because otherwise, I don't know if this is right or not. This may not be what they're supposed to have in there. The spelling could be wrong. You know, what if they spell, put the address of the store that you visited.
Right.
Visited, of the store that you visited. What if that's one of the defaults? Right? But what they were supposed to write was store.
Yeah. Right.
But the developer said, just because we work for store, the developer said, oh, I think I'm going to be cute and put the real name of the place in there. But then the client, the customer on the street sees that and goes, boy, they can't spell worth a crap. What the hell?
Right.
So, when it's supposed to just be generic location that you visited, or maybe it was supposed to say location.
Right.
So
we don't have any definition on that.
Yeah, that would have been a technical. That wouldn't have been a bug. That would have been a technical.
Okay.
Where did all this stuff come from? If it's supposed to be there, put it in the story and link it to their new requirement. So there's a change in the requirement, and that decision had to be approved by the PM before the developer is allowed to do this. So the PM has to have signed off on something that needs to be attached to the story so that I know that the story modifications are approved. Because there's nothing to stop a developer from going in there and putting in the story whatever it was that he built.
Right.
Just so it passes. All right, so what's the next step?
All right. We're down to the unexpected document.
Yep.
All right, the user should be able to open and close. Now, can you close those?
Yep. And if we open a new one,
right,
then it says upon closing, the feedback is lost. So that is correct.
Okay.
Close it, and the feedback is lost.
Okay, I see that.
Okay. So that's good.
All right. At the input feed, all the input feedback can be erased with the reset option.
Okay, so we're going to start this. Marion Morrison, provide the exact query, which was DRS test query doc number 52001, whatever. Accuracy of the results. They were average. All right, we're going to open two fields. And we're going to say, oh, only two fields, please. And the document name number 52.0005, and number 52.01. Because I don't know what else to put in there. Graph functionality. It seems to work. Time save. Really? I'm supposed to measure time I saved. I've always wondered how they expect the client or the customer to be able to determine how much time they have saved by using this tool.
Yeah, I've run into those kinds of questions too. It's kind of stupid.
Data. Now, a lot of times for test data like this, we use what's called lorem ipsum.
Right,
so
right.
Here, this is a lorem ipsum generator. And what it is, it's just a language that is phony. It's based on Latin. It looks like Latin, but really it's just junk. But it's got periods and commas. Yeah, it's just filler is all it is. And with this tool, I love this tool because you can say at the head of this tool, I need 2 words because I'm doing a first name. But just give me 2 words.
Right.
There's my 2 words. Or I need 2 sentences. Or I can do like, so how big is this field allowed to be? So that's a common question. There should be a maximum and a minimum input. And the maximum input should be listed on the field.
Right,
So,
right. How many characters?
Yeah, 50, 56 characters or 200 bytes or whatever. So what you can do then is you come over here and you say 500 bytes, and boom, there's a 500 byte paragraph that you can now test it. So you'd go, if it maximizes at 500, hit enter, does it work? And then you do it again with 2 extra or 3 extra and hit it, and it should fail. Right? Because that's 502.
Right.
So yeah, so I'll do that. I'll enter a couple of paragraphs. You can also go through and test to break it intentionally to see if there's a limit to it. So there's 2,500 bytes right there. Boom. So now that we've got it all filled out, what's the test? All the input feedback can be erased by the reset button. Reset. Yep, seems to work.
Okay.
All right, so the next one, message is visible at the top upon submission. So on submission, paste from here, paste, paste, pick a number, paste, pick a second one, and it worked fine, and really. Okay, and so now we're going to submit, and boom, a message was received. A message is visible at the top of the application. What is the content of the message? That's the next tech question that you'd enter. Where do I get the content of the message?
Yeah.
But the test passed because the feedback is visible.
Right.
So that's it. There's the test.
Okay.
So you have fully run through one entire session. I want to do one more thing with you. I want to show you that same exact test that we just did. Only I'm going to run it through in the automated system so you can see what it looks like when the automation runs, because it's kind of cool.
Okay.
And I'll let you get on about your night. Did you guys go eat yet?
No, not yet.
What time is it? Oh, it's only 6:30.
Wanted to get this done.
Yeah, we were hoping to go pick up Mary's car today. That was who called the first couple of times. It's finished, but it's not ready. It was just ready at like 5:45, and they closed at 6 o'clock.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, not going to make it today. Okay, so we just did submit feedback. So if you look at this test right here, okay, that's the submit feedback test. And here is the SUT. Can you see the screen well enough? Did I lose you? Larry?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right, so you can see the screen okay?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to launch the test, and you'll just watch it run. So this is the exact test we just ran through, okay? This is the DRS submit form, the submit feedback form.
Right.
And so this is what I've been doing on working on the automation system is you set the automation up to do everything we just did manually,
right,
on its own, and it's waiting for something right now. As soon as it doesn't find it, it's going to type in the username. Come on, machine. There it goes. You making coffee?
No, I think that's John.
Oh.
He's washing dishes.
Huh?
He's washing dishes.
Right? So it launches the feedback form. So now it's going to start looking for all the pieces. Now watch the green markers. Every time one of those green lights comes on, it's found what it's looking for.
I should mute my microphone.
Hey, John.
Yeah, let me do that.
That's funny. All right, so you see how it's checking. Now, the test knows what's supposed to be in the default text.
Right.
Because I've already had all these questions answered and have got all the default text set appropriately. So it knows what to look for.
Right.
And it finds the header, and then it's going to find the text component. Boom, green. Jumps to the top again. All right. Okay. And notice I didn't validate the EG stuff.
Right.
That was not there when we ran the test the first time. So that's a new addition.
Right.
Circled or squared up in the green.
Yeah.
So now it's going to go test the accuracy components. And watch how it works. See, it hits each one of them?
Yeah. Didn't like it, did it?
It did. It found them, yeah.
Okay.
So now it's randomly going to open a couple of boxes, and then it'll go and try and close them. What's the next piece? What's it looking for? Oh, it's looking for submit. Oh, so now it's testing the required fields. So it makes sure that submit is off. Then it's going to go type in stuff to the first three fields. And each time it does it, it's going to go type something in. And then it's going to go check to make sure that submit is still off, disabled. Right. And it's selected the drop down at random.
Right.
What it does is it goes, and now it just tested reset, and you can see that it's going to go and make sure that the defaults were put all back.
Right.
So with the accuracy field, oh, now it's going to do a submittal. So it's starting to generate lorem ipsum on its own. I built a lorem engine into it so that it'll generate various lorem texts, and it's never going to be the same one. Randomly choose one of the four. Now it's going to randomly open a number of boxes. I think I limited it to 8, so it'll never open more than 8. It looks like it's going to get close to that today. 4, 5, 6, so there's 8. So it opened 8 boxes, and it's just going to type in 8 random lorem components, just bits of text.
And that ipsum lorem stuff comes up whenever you build a web page too.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time, and it's really helpful.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing layouts and what this form would really look like in in real life, what it would look like. It's very helpful. So now the graph functionality lorem, the time saved functionality, or the time saved lorem, and then the comment field. Okay, and now it should just go hit submit. Yep. Now it's going to look for the feedback.
Yep.
And found it, closed it, and now it should jump down and record the version of the application that's running. I think it has to verify that it does not see the box again, or the text, that it actually got to close the text. Chug, chug, chug. That's one thing that I'm a little frustrated with on Eggplant is its timeout is 90 seconds. It won't let me shorten it.
Yeah.
I'm like, it really doesn't need to be 90 seconds because we use the timeout, in an if not found automatically results in 90 seconds if it wasn't found.
Right.
And that's, that could really be kind of a long wait. There it goes. All right, so now it is going to, I think it's going to hunt for the version. Yeah, it's hunting for version now. Watch what happens when it finds it. Boom. Now it goes real fast. And then puts it back into site and then copies it. Okay, closes the browser and it's finished. All right, so now we're going to go take a quick look at the results set, which is right here. Expand this guy. All right. Come on, machine. You can do this. All right, so here's the test that was just run. And we're going to look for log errors. No errors. Look at that. Not one. Tons of successes. Everything worked. No errors whatsoever. And then there's the DRS version that it recorded. It even goes through and it tells you exactly what it entered into which field for the test, how many bytes it put into the comments field, because that's that could be a max number or a minimum number. I think in the query, in the actual test, we look at comments field. Where is that? Here we are. So I set it to 600 bytes. You can see right here. So I wrote this piece of framework that goes and gets lorem for me at 600 bytes and then pop that into the query, into the form. So I can randomly set that. For example, if we knew that the maximum was supposed to be 1200, then I would have it run 3 times. One at under 1200, one at 1200, and then one at 1205, right? And it should work in the first and the second and fail on the third. So, but since they didn't give me a limit, I just randomly chose 600 bytes because that looked like a big enough number. So anyway, all right, that's pretty much it. That covers a lot, and it covers from QAing the process of something like the PPQA element, right? It covers QAing product. It covers recording those results. What else did we cover? Turning in those results to either creating tickets or in the case of the PPQA stuff, creating to-do lists. Where did that go? Requirements, quality, no. PMP, quality. All right. Oh, it looks like Larry got jumped out. So we're going to go ahead and close it out. But so that's we've covered quite a bit, and I hope that everybody hope that you guys were able to get something out of this. If you have any questions, as usual, give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to help you out, answer any questions you might have. I'll be broadcasting the update on the page so that everybody knows what the URL is for this, so that you can go look at it and from the start if you need to. And it'll be up on the NDi Presents YouTube channel.
Okay.
So, hey, John, how are you?
I'm good. Tired.
Yeah. So there's I'll have the whole thing published up there, so you can go watch the whole thing from scratch. And I did record it. So matter of fact, let me stop the recording now.